Lord, everyone. Brother Roop here. We're in Acts chapter 8, and Acts chapter 8, verse 1, it says, persecution happened in the church, and the church was scattered except for the apostles. I always found that to be an interesting statement to make. The church was scattered except for the apostles. So the apostles at this point had been teaching in the temple and then going to people's houses, because the church back then was a collection of house churches. And they had been trying to become kind of like Christian priests in the temple. And so they knew I'm sure they knew about now all the Pharisees and Sadducees and all the movers and shakers in the temple area. And they were kind of like the old guard, so to speak. So when the church started growing, a lot of younger priests were converting to Christianity, and they're growing with other Greeks and Jews, and the younger people, the younger guys and gals, were a lot more bolder than the older apostles. And they were far more eager to get out there and preach out in the streets and preach where they were far more noticeable, whereas the apostles apparently weren't doing that. They were spending their time at the temple trying to be some kind of Christian priest, waiting for Jesus to come back, which is apparently what they're doing, and then spending time in people's homes, having church in the homes. And these younger set of people who were new converts and far more excited about Christianity were preaching in crowded areas, the marketplace, and wherever they can, and the priests weren't liking that. The Sadducees wanted them to calm down and be quiet. They were putting them in jail because they didn't want the Romans to come down on them, because the Sadducees were making a lot of money from the temple service. Sadducees were the liberal wing of the temple, and they were all about making money and living the good life as a priest. So Pharisees, on the other hand, were about religion and religious extremism and keeping things pure, because they didn't want to be banished back to Babylon or something like that. So they were far more willing to kill people and be stricter on these new Christian sects. And Paul, who so far we know him as Saul, was a Pharisee. And Saul, who was persecuting the church, he didn't persecute the apostles, but not the entire church of Jerusalem was scattered, because we're going to read in chapter 15 of the book of Acts that the headquarters of the church is still going to be in Jerusalem, and James is the head of the church, and he's out of Jerusalem. So the entire church doesn't get scattered. It looks like it's the younger set, the younger Christians, who are far more energetic and far more willing to take risks and preach to more people and preach bolder sermons. Looks like they're the ones who got scattered. So maybe most of the church got scattered, but the headquarters of the Christian church remains in Jerusalem, and the apostles later on will start moving out of Jerusalem. James stays; he's the head of the church at this time. But it's the entire church didn't get scattered at this time, but most of it, the younger crowd, the more energetic, more excited young preachers, they're the ones who really get scattered, whereas the apostles, the older set, they remain in Jerusalem. So we'll see that later on in the book of Acts. It's a great book. A lot of things going on right here. God bless you.